welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. Well, the Indiana Fever has announced another player has been waived. That is Yvonne Ejim. So that makes 3 cuts so far. The team has waived Bree Hall and Jillian Elaine, and now Yvonne Ejim. And I know these kinds of decisions are hard. In fact, Stephanie White says something just the other day with the first 2 cuts. She said it's the hardest thing we do, but this is business. And so we have to make those decisions. They don't even get like overly sentimental or put out long posts about it. It says, we have waved forward Yvonne Ejim. Thank you, Yvonne. And no sentimentality or anything. My goodness, they don't even start with a capital letter. They never do, though. Here's a larger picture there of Yvonne Ejim. Now, I watched Yvonne's minutes in Saturday's preseason game, the one that went into overtime against the Washington Mystics, and then Sunday's exhibition game against Brazil. And Yvonne got to play a little bit more. Now, someone in the chat had called me mean on Saturday because I at one point was saying, Yvonne, you got to go. Get her out. And I had to explain that I didn't mean like cut her from the team at that moment. I meant get her out of the game because I didn't really like what I was seeing at that time. So let's look at what she produced on Saturday and then what she produced on Sunday. And of course, here we are on Wednesday, and she's no longer with the team. So the final score was 79 Indiana, 74 Mystics, and that was in overtime. And down here, the box score, we see Yvonne played only 5 minutes. She took a shot, missed the shot. She had no rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 turnovers, no points. And that's in 5 minutes. So 2 turnovers in 5 minutes. So I was like, she's got to go. Now and I meant from the game. Now let's go to Sunday. Sunday, of course, was the blowout. Indiana 108, Brazil 44, and Yvonne played 12 minutes. So 7 minutes more. She went 3 for 5 from the field. She took a 3. She missed it, but she did take a 3. She had 1 rebound, no assists, and a steal, and she ended up with 6 points. So she did better. She played longer on Sunday. Having said that, there was nothing about her play that made me think that she was going to make this team. So I'm not surprised about it. Now, I'm going to stick with what I said before training camp even began. And that was that of the 3 rookies, 19, Michaela Timpson was taken. At 20, Bree Hall was taken. And at 33, Yvonne Ejim was taken. And I said that Michaela Timpson would make the team. I maintain Michaela Timpson will make the team. When I look at comments from many of you, you have embraced what you see from her, and you too believe she will make the team. What I had not considered was that some people would say they didn't necessarily believe when we were saying that there were 5 spots and only one person could make the team. I didn't anticipate that some people would say, well, we're not so sure that Brianna Turner will even make the team. So that's interesting because right now let's take a look. We've got how many players we feel are definites on this team. There's DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark. That's your 5. I'm going to skip over Brianna Turner because just for the sake of some of the comments I've heard. So we're going to skip over her. So we got 5. And I'm going to go down to Sydney Colson, and that would be 6. And then Sophie Cunningham would be 7. Lexi Hull would be 8. Damaris Dantas would be 9. So the Fever will start with 11 players. Now, I didn't mention Brianna Turner here, although I mentioned her originally. I considered her like I didn't even think about her not making the team. So, but now with that consideration, if there are 11 spots, which means only 2 more can make the team, that means you have Brianna Turner as one possibility, Michaela Timpson as a second possibility, And the third possibility would be Jaylen Brown, Brianna Turner, Michaela Timpson, and Jaylen Brown. Now, I'm going to say what I just said, and I've said all the way throughout. I believe Michaela Timpson is going to make the team. That means then that you have two players vying for one spot. And that would be Brianna Turner, whom I had making it originally. And some of you made me go, Brianna Turner, Jaylen Brown. Brianna Turner is a forward. Jaylen Brown is a guard, if I got that right. And I will just double check that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she's a guard. So Brianna Turner, Jaylen Brown. Originally, I had Brianna Turner as a shoo-in and not even in the mix. Interesting to me, the Indiana Fever could have cut Yvonne Ejim when the Indiana Fever cut Bree Hall and Jillian Elaine. So were they still evaluating the talent that Yvonne brought, or did they want to just draw this thing out to keep engagement going? Whatever. Did they need to see some more from them? Like, why? I mean, they could have done that all already. They did not. So, what are your thoughts on this? Jaylen Brown, Brianna Turner. I feel like they don't need another guard. What Jaylen Brown is listed as a guard. On this team, when you talk about the guard position, of course, you've got players who can play multiple positions. But when you think about Caitlin and Kelsey and Sophie, who was going to probably play some point, and Sydney Colson and Lexi Hall, like that was the thing with Bree Hall as well. I didn't. Where was she going to be needed? So I'm not so sure about Jaylen Brown, and especially from what I saw of her preseason. Let's go back and look at her stats from the preseason games. So actually, we're looking for Jaylen Brown and Brianna Turner's stats, and this is the game on Saturday against the Mystics. Brianna Turner played for 14 minutes. Not impressive at all. She did have 4 rebounds. She had 2 assists. She had 2 turnovers, and she didn't have any points, but she also didn't take any shots. So that's Brianna Turner. But then Jaylen Brown, she played just a minute more. At 15 minutes, she went 1 for 6. She took 2 3-pointers and didn't make any of them. She did get 4 rebounds, and she had 2 points. Okay, so there's that. Brianna Turner, 14 minutes, no points. Jaylen Brown, 15 minutes, 2 points, but she shot 1 for 6. Brianna Turner didn't take any shots at all. All right, now let's go to Sunday. On Sunday, Brianna Turner played half the minutes, 7 minutes, didn't take any shots there either. She did have 4 rebounds. She had 1 assist, and obviously she didn't take a shot. She didn't have a free throw, so that's no points. So Brianna Turner, not really making herself seen. Of course, 4 rebounds are 4 rebounds. Then you have Jaylen Brown. She played 15 minutes, just as she did in the first game. 1 for 6. 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, 2 points. I gotta say, this is a tough one. I think about Brianna Turner, who came early. She's been working with Keith Porter while everybody else was still, doing their off-season thing. But she's not really making herself known. We got to see what Jaylen Brown was able to bring, and I think they're probably still making their mind. But again, does this team need another guard in Jaylen Brown? I don't know. I think this is a toss-up for me, except I think I'm going to give the edge to Brianna Turner, although I'm not at all sure. I wouldn't bet a penny on it if I were a betting woman, which I'm not. But if I were, I wouldn't even bet a penny on it because I'm really not sure. But I'm just not sure they need another guard. And that's where my hesitation is, and Brianna Turner having been there and working so hard, I'm going to leave this to you all to decide. I put the facts out there for you. Again, I would go with Jaylen Brown. I think I'd give her the edge if she weren't a guard. But I almost don't feel too I don't feel confident about that at all. I do feel confident that Michaela Timpson will make this team. That's the only thing I feel confident about at this point. So why don't you guys get in the comments? What are you I try to lay the case out there. What are you thinking? Think about how many guards they have. Think about the stats for those games. Just get in the comments and you guys help me out because I just don't know. And I'm guessing this team, Stephanie White and the coaching staff, don't know either because they could have made that cut today as well, and they did not. I wish Yvonne Ejim the best of the best, just as I wish Bree Hall and Jillian Elaine the best of the best. But it is a business, and businesses have to make business decisions. So I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.